Why do you want to be a private investigator?
I just, I really like helping people.
Is that a question?
I got a job for you.
I was hoping to hire you to find my parents.
She's good. She's smart.
I just don't want you compromising your professional integrity.
Work is work and fun is fun. We don't blur them.
Well, like a little bit of blurry. Don't make me put that back up, please.
I'm proud of you. You're doing good.
Is that your car?
It was, yes.
We're on an adventure discovering new places.
There's only one bed.
Yeah, that's all they had left.
You have feelings for Greg?
What? No.
Am I interrupting?
No. Yeah. Three of us standing here together. We're working together.
It's a little awkward.
Yeah. Group hug, I think.
What am I paying you for?
Be awesome. Don't do it! Girl knows how to cause a scene.
Never met anyone like her.
Well, if there's an upside, I don't see how things could get much worse.
Do something! Not that!
You did a good thing, for once.
So do you think you can help, ma'am?
Yeah, only if you stop calling me ma'am.
Oh, I'm sorry, Miss Barrios? Dex.
Attaboy.
Hey, welcome everybody. I love looking back at all the great moments from season 1 of Stumptown, and I'm excited to host this conversation with the cast and executive producers. I'm Jim Halterman. I'm the West Coast Bureau Chief of TV Guide Magazine, and you probably know that Stumptown is based on the graphic novel series and follows Dex Perios, a strong, assertive, and sharp-witted Army veteran with a complicated love life, gambling debt, and a brother to take care of in Portland, Oregon. Her military intelligence skills make her a great private investigator, but her unapologetic style puts her in the firing line of hardcore criminals and also not quite in alliance with the police. Coming back to ABC soon, Stumptown will be airing on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Please help me welcome the panelists. First up, executive producer, creator, writer, co-showrunner, Jason Richman. Hey, Jason. The newest member of the team, executive producer and co-showrunner, Monica Breen.
Hello.
Hi, Monica.
Hey, Michael.
Next, we have executive producer David Bernad.
Hey.
Hey, David. Then we have executive producer Ruben Fleischer. Hey. And we have the man who created this world in his graphic novels, executive producer Greg Rucka.
Hello.
Hello.
There we are.
Co-executive producer, and she also happens to play Dex Perios. Please welcome Cobie Smulders.
I'm here.
There you are.
Hey, everybody.
He plays Gray McConnell on this show. Please welcome Jake Johnson. There he is. And last but not least, he plays Detective Miles Hoffman, Michael Ealy. Hey, Michael, gang's all here. Well, first of all, just congratulations on season 2, everybody. I did a little scream just because I'm a fan. I assume you guys all did the same, but very excited for season 2. But I want to back up a little bit first, because Greg, I want to start with you and just ask, once the season really started rolling out, how did it feel to see the world you created really come to life? I mean, the pilot was out there, but then as the whole season rolled out, how was that for you?
Oh, it was insane. It's remarkable, and it started. It started the moment I read Jason's pilot before anything was shot, and when they shot the pilot in Portland, and getting to see, going to the set and having Cobie be like, "Oh, hey, glad you're here," and then watching them destroy a car. And that sort of set the tone for the season, and in a good way, not in a, oh my God, the car, but in a, you have no idea what this is going to be. I think, honestly, Dex is well served in the original source material, but characters like Gray and Hoffman, and Hoffman is a completely different character in the series. So watching Jake, watching Miles, watching Michael, watching the whole cast breathe and inflate these people, make them real. There's nothing like it. I mean, it's a cliche answer in so many ways, but you're looking at me in my office. I work here alone. These people are in my head. That's it. So then you go you watch an episode and there they are walking and talking and breaking your heart and making you laugh. And yeah, there's nothing better.
Jason, talk to me about just shaping the show, because I know the books and the show captured the flavors so well. Were there challenges in that, or was it a pretty fluid process for you to make that work?
Well, there's a lot to fall in love with, obviously, in what Greg created. You know, you get in pretty, I think I was on page 2 or something of the graphic novel. I'm like, I got to do this. I got to do this. The relationship between Dex and Ansel, the complicated character that she is, the edge, you know, there was so much there. I think the complication is just like, you know, there are certain legs that just needed a little support in the show. So a little, you know, like Tukey, or, you know, rearranging some of the characters in a dynamic that, that really felt like you could separate some of the worlds and different ways in which they could spread out. You know, those things sort of needed to be created, but it was important to sort of really not forget what you fall in love with when you do something like this. So to try and capture the spirit of the novel, I think was something that you know, was very important. Like, you take a character like Sue Lin, I think Greg, right? She was only in book 1, but
yeah.
but you know, that was something that was so specific to the world, and she just felt like a character that would, you know, help tonally, visually, thematically, you know, set this show apart from other shows that were out there, and would allow us to go into worlds that other shows wouldn't be able to go into. So so there was a lot to work with, and you know, it was a great jumping off point. And again, we just, you know, we all try to stay true to the spirit.
And I'll throw this one to David and Ruben. You know, source material is a great foundation for a show, but then as things evolve and you see actors play together, things start to change a little bit. What were some of the bigger things you saw change, either in characters or in story, that went on in season 1?
Give me a minute. Ruben or
Yeah.
I could. What are some of the things that changed? I think kind of what Jason touched upon in terms of expanding on some of the characters that maybe weren't as prevalent in the series, in Greg's series. I think we did a great job of kind of trying to maintain the tone and the intention of what Greg set out to make, and I'm really proud of that first season, and you know, really excited for the second season, and kind of examining what we did well, what we didn't do well, and kind of building on that and expanding the universe.
Ruben, you have anything?
I'll just add to that in terms of the ensemble that expanded around, and just getting to see Tukey and Cole's character, and just the supporting cast, I think, is so strong, and each of those actors are so fun to spend time with, that it was great to kind of watch those secondary relationships evolve in support of this main trio.
And Monica, since you weren't a part of season 1, but you're coming in for season 2, what were your reactions watching the first season?
I mean, it's funny. It was such a fun show. I mean, first of all, the music is ridiculously fun. The action set pieces, it's so rare to see action set pieces that really it's lively, and I mean, the music is fantastic. But also, I love the characters that felt so real. Like, they did good things, but they weren't superheroes. They weren't perfect. Their lives were messy. Their relationships were messy. Their romances. Like, there was something so funny to me about, there was no will they, won't they. They did, now what? And so for me, just like that whole relationship of friends who've done it and now are together, and there's just so much fun to play with, and so much, you know, adult fun. Like, they felt like grown-ups who are complicated and a little self-medicating and all these different ways, and struggling with their parents and trying to remake their adult lives, coming from problematic parent. I get that. I get those people. I feel like I can get in there and have fun. So.
Yeah. Cobie, what was your take on Dex when you were shooting the pilot, and did it change throughout the season as you got to know her better?
I mean, the first season is really her journey to face her past. So at the beginning, she's covering herself. She's protecting herself. And so throughout the season, it was really fun to play her slowly acknowledging all of these faults from the past that she really needs to fix to move forward. So certainly where we started at the beginning is not where she ended up at the end of the season. It was a full journey. But in terms of her personality and her her self-medication and the fun that she has, we didn't lose that, but she certainly went into some things from her past and had a few battles.
Yeah. And I have to say, I really appreciated her vet background was a big part of the show. And I learned that there's such a community of vets out there, and that really played a big part, where she would go to meetings or meet somebody, and as soon as you heard that somebody else was a vet, there was a connection there. Was that something new for you to know? And and what did you think of that being a part of the show as much as anything else?
It's one of my favorite parts about this character is a woman who, has been in service and has suffered a lot and struggles with PTSD. And it was I'm glad that we played out that we saw this person at the beginning and she was suffering, and that she did reach out to this community. It was exciting seeing her. That was sort of probably the first time in her life where she sought out somebody who had a similar experience and healed herself through that. But so it was exciting seeing some healing and actually seeing her being seeking that out.
Yeah. Greg, can you talk a little bit about making that a part of the character in the story when you first told it, and then making it a part of the series?
I sort of cheated, Dex is meant to be the modern take on the classic PI. So, we step up through generations, and one of the tropes of the genre that started appearing in the 70s was the ex-military trope. Yeah. And so I sort of took a piece from that, right? Both Rockford and Magnum played with that. Mm-hmm. And again, I wanted to deal with it honestly, because so much of the ideas behind Dex are, let's take these ideas and see what they look like, in the now, in today. So it's a great it provides so much story fodder. It answers so much about the skill set and the woman she is. And, as with all things, it's a fiction, but for the fiction to work, it's got to be emotionally true. It's got to be honest. In the comic, in the comic, the line is, I got my PTSD the old-fashioned way. I went to war, which is how everybody gets it. You can dress it up in whatever clothes you want, but if you're a soldier with PTSD, you got it in service. So it was important to be true to that.
Yeah. Okay. Jason, what were the things that you wanted to make sure were part of the Dex character from the comics, whether it's her sexuality, the veteran part of it?
All of it, really. And I was looking for a way to sort of unify all those things. And so that was one of the reasons why, I decided an origin story might be interesting. How did this character become this private detective? And I was really interested in a character who was kind of lost and would get into something and not really feel like, not looking at it as a career. She never would think, oh, I could do this kind of for a living, but it was sort of the culmination of all the good and bad things that she'd done in her entire life, all the interactions, all the damage and everything wrapped up into one. And it sort of was like the only thing that she could possibly do with all those things, and so it was an unintended sort of seeking of meaning that she landed on in the pilot. I think all those things about Dex, or sexuality, were all revelatory, and that, she doesn't make a big deal of those things. We may have a judgment in watching them, but this is not a character that thinks anything of that. She acts on, what's in her nature, and it's in her nature to just be attracted to people. It wasn't gender specific. I was interested in that too. Just, how casually that was treated, and Greg really established that. And as for the PTSD, that was very important, to establish that. I think that's the thing that will follow this character through the life of this character, And the thing about PTSD is, she got an answer at the end of season 1, but, it doesn't mean she's fixed. That's not really how it works. And so, to be true to that complex, to be true to see how a character deals with that kind of damage and medicates it, in sometimes unhelpful ways, but always dramatic ways, and a lot of times interesting to watch ways, I think is something that's very relatable, about this character.
And I thought it was really revolutionary that when her sexuality did come up, it didn't change the show at all. It didn't become a special episode, or didn't become, this is what the show's really about. It was just another layer to her. Cobie, when you were able to play those scenes, and it wasn't like, we're going to talk about this, it was just part of her character. Did that feel revolutionary to you, or just at least refreshing that it didn't become the focal point all of a sudden?
Yeah, I mean, I've always viewed her as a type of person who was kind of up for anything. She doesn't discriminate. She sort of goes where the fun is, and so I didn't feel like it just feels like the caricature to me. Obviously, it's big to be on network television and for her to be acting in that way, but to me, it just felt like this is who this person is. And it was a really cool thing to explore and play out.
And there was also this really nice love triangle between yourself and Jake and Michael's characters. Jake, talk to me first about being a part of that and what Gray really wanted from Dex and how it played out all season. It wasn't your stereotypical love triangle. I thought it didn't like come to a certain conclusion, I guess. It wasn't like now we're moving on. It was just, that's a part of the show as well. What did you make of that?
I never really felt like I was in a love triangle on this show. I know that marketing was really pushing the love triangle, but in the scenes we were doing, it didn't feel very love triangle. It felt to me that Gray and Dex were friends, and there'll always be something between people who are really connected, but it didn't feel as present as the scenes with Dex and Miles in terms of their romance. And most love triangles, the two guys will have beef with each other, but Miles and Gray seem to like each other from the get-go, even though they had some, stuff they had to deal with in terms of, work. So it's a sideways way of answering that question, but I never fully felt like I was in one.
Okay. Michael, what's your take on that?
Well, I never really minded being the medicinal cure for Dex's, woes. I think that's kind of made things fun. But that being said, it didn't feel like a love triangle so much as it felt like, I see you, you see me. This is kind of an adult thing, and it doesn't have to go in a direction that seems, poetic or Shakespearean for me to kind of make this work. I think I think like Jake said, there's, maybe this is how Dex starts true friendships, like it's her unique way of starting a true friendship is to go ahead and just knock it out once. You know what I mean?
It certainly gets things out of the way.
It does. I mean, literally, what you said, Jim, made a whole lot of sense. I'm sorry, Monica, you said it. It's like, will they, won't they? We already know. Like, it's like, so there's, now it's like, what now? And I think that made for a much more interesting dynamic.
Yeah, been there, done that, bought the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Well, I like that all these characters, not just Dex, but all the characters have a lot of messiness in their life. And we learned a lot about Gray throughout the season. Jake, did you know the journey he was going on for the season, as far even later in the season when his dad shows up and all that, or was that new to you as the scripts were coming out?
It was kind of new as it went. Jason is very collaborative and was very open, so we had a lot of discussions. But no, I really didn't know very much what was going on beforehand. It was all kind of new, but I really liked what happened with the character. It was a lot of fun to play a bunch of new stuff. I loved working with Matt Craven, who plays Gray's dad. He's such a talented actor. Honestly, it was a really fun year. I'm glad we're back for 2.
Yeah. And Michael, talk about Hoffman a little bit, because we also get to know him really well as the season progressed. And he also had his own share of daddy issues. Can you talk about that part of his character and playing those scenes?
Yeah, it was, when I signed on to the project, I felt like from the pilot I didn't know much about Miles, and that's actually what, drew me to playing this particular role. And I think by the time we got through the first season, I learned everything I need to know to continue playing this character moving forward. I'm really excited about season 2 and what's going to happen next. In terms of Miles' daddy issues, what I love most about him was that, they kind of handled them, Miles and his father, they handled them in the only way that they knew how. And that created not only tension, but it also kind of displayed a lot of love between them. You can disagree with your father and still love it. And I thought that it wasn't a binary, thing, a binary relationship between the two. It was actually quite mature and evolved. So that was kind of dope.
And I have to say, personally, as a fan, I loved anytime Ansel showed up because I knew it was either going to be really funny or he'd hit some big dramatic notes. Cobie and Jake, you both had a lot of scenes with him, and there was definitely a lot of love between the characters. Can you talk about working with Cole and what he brought to the scenes? Because I'd be blown away when he'd make me laugh in one scene and then make me want to cry in another scene.
Yeah, Cole is not only like the heart of our show, but he's the heart of our set, of our cast and crew. He is so joyful, and he works so hard, and he's so lovable. And it was really cool to watch the show, to watch this first season for him, to see him like working so hard and to see him really commit and to see him just really blossom. It was a wonderful journey, and he's so talented and just loves being a part of it, loves our show, and it's just a joy to be around.
Yeah, I agree. He's a really talented young actor, and you would really feel it when you would be in scenes with him where every once in a while we would cross cover, so you'd have a camera on him and a camera on me, and when he sits in a scene for a while, his improvs are really funny, and his moments are really good, and those emotional moments that he hits, they're not forced in the edit, they're not stolen. He's delivering these performances. And so apart from, yes, I've never hugged somebody more in my life, including my family. So to get to work, be told he loves you, he gives you a hug, it starts you off in a way that was really new for me on being on a set, which was really nice. But then when push comes to shove and the bright lights came on, he can hit his shot. He's good.
Good. Jason, did the character's trajectory change at all throughout the season as you saw what Cole could bring to the scenes?
Yeah, absolutely. I think as Cobie said, one of the joys of working with Cole is to see how he grew as an actor. I mean, he really did. And that was so impressive. And so, you start to recognize, wow, you can kind of rely on this character to give them weighty material in his own voice. I think Cole conveys a certain truth that's just completely undeniable. He's just able to deliver that. And so it makes him a real sort of peer, among this group. And there's something so compelling about how everybody, not only the crew treats him, but how he's treated dramatically in the story as, another guy in the gang, and, nobody treats him any different, and he doesn't have an expectation really. But the ways in which other characters rely on him, the way in which he's sometimes the medicine in a scene, is something that we really gravitated toward later on, and finding those moments in which, he can bring that sort of dramatic conclusion in a way that, nobody else can really do. It's just, there's something very unique about him and what he can bring to a show like this. Yeah.
He would also, occasionally, one of my favorite things is if your character does something shady, Cole's a little bit mad at you while you're shooting the scene, where, he would read the script. We'd get to work and he'd give me my hug, and then he'd be like, I didn't like what you did. And I'm like, I haven't done it yet. I'll let you do the scene. You're not allowed to be mad at me. But it would create an energy in the scene that you would use, and he would be a little, if I was ever mean to Dex, he didn't like it. And so it allowed it, we play make believe for a living, so anything that could help that, and he helps it a lot.
He's also the most professional on set.
You know, when I was gonna say, one of the things that informed the storytelling a little bit is that Cole would always say things that he wanted to do. I want to drive. I want to be in an action sequence. I want to do this. I want to do that. And a character, conveying these ideas got us thinking, like, this is really the story about, an interesting aspect of the character, someone who's spreading his wings a little bit, fighting for his independence, wanting to be his own person, which really then fed into the whole Dex Ansel relationship and, opened up a lot of doors. So it's interesting how, someone could inspire you to, to think about your storytelling.
Well, I've got a slew of fan questions that we gathered via Twitter we're going to get to in just a second. But I want to talk a little bit about that season 1 finale, because there's also a slew of cliffhangers. Where are you guys at in the writer's room? Because I know the world's a little weird right now, but are you guys crafting season 2? Anything you can share as far as what we might be seeing?
Monica, you want to take this one?
Well, Mom, who left 12 years ago and comes into Dex's life. It's interesting when you have one trauma that you deal with, and then there's an origin trauma that then appears in your life that suddenly, it's interesting because I think for Dex, taking care of Ansel and being the rock in Ansel's life let her put off dealing with her feelings about the abandonment of Mom. And so Mom showing up is a little bit of a kaboom into her life.
Is there any dream casting we'd like to see for Mom? Cobie, do you have a dream person you'd love to see play her mom?
I can't really talk about it because we're really talking about it.
Well, that's exciting though.
I can't show our hand, it's an exciting role. It'll be a really cool role for somebody to come in and crush. So we're looking at great ladies.
Okay. And I'm guessing Jake Gray's going to be facing some more daddy issues. There was a little hook there at the end that he's not done with what his daddy has done.
I like how often we use the word daddy in this.
Daddy? Yeah, I don't know why.
I appreciated that Ealy jumped on it. I can't do it. I just can't do it.
Gray's father.
Thank you. No, I'm very excited to be working with my daddy, Matt Craven. But I'm excited to see what happens with those scenes. It was, I think we started just in that one episode, if I'm right on that, Jason, which the idea was Matt was going to do kind of a one-off, but he's a really talented guy. And I think we all felt right away that there's just, when talent comes on a set, everybody perks up a little bit. So I'm excited to see what happens. I have no take. I've spoken with Monica a little bit, with Jason, and I'm excited to see what this room comes up with.
Okay. And Michael, what is Hoffman if he's not a detective? Because he set his badge down, he walked away.
I've been pressing the writers for a career in on the pole. I think for Hoffman, male stripping has always been kind of been a fantasy of his. So I think if you're not gonna wear your badge, you're gonna take off your badge, show what you got. You know what I mean?
Take it all off.
Take it all off. That works, right, Greg? That's what you had in mind.
It works.
I think
works. Go with it.
I think a little Mingus pole dance routine is right up your alley.
And there's got to be room for a pole in that bar.
There's a leak in the writer's room. We got to fix.
There you go.
It's ABC, man. It'll be great.
That's actually the first 6-episode arc, is that the money for the bar runs out, and it's got to sort of convert into that Portland tradition of, well, we need a little skin. So the pole is installed, and there you go.
Okay, I like it. All right, let's get to some fan questions. These were all sent in from Twitter. We put a call out, and people sent lots of things in. This one comes from @DJ Ritter. The soundtrack of Stumptown features some classic tunes. What is your favorite classic that you'd like to see in the show? We'll start with you, Cobie.
Gosh, I love like some maybe some ladies of the 80s, some heart, some, I don't know, like just some, we've been using a lot of rock and I like having a female sound behind that. So some more of that.
Okay. Jake, anything come to mind?
Whatever compilation album is called Ladies of the 80s. I want a shirt just like this with no sleeves that says Ladies of the 80s. I mean, I'm very interested in the Ladies of the 80s. I think that sounds cool. Honestly, the music of this that, you know, they put together was shockingly cool. So, you know, I like the Doobie Brothers. I'd like to see some Doobie Brothers make their way in.
Okay. Michael, you got one?
Yeah, I agree with Jake. I think the soundtrack was definitely a character in the show. It was an incredible soundtrack all season long. You know, I think if you know, if you ever had a moment where like Cole gets like Ansel gets like a really good looking girlfriend, you know, you run like Brick House by the Commodores and let that roll.
I like it. All right, next one. This one's from @HillRomanoff.
Hi, my name is Xiomara. For Cobie, if you could have a conversation with Dex, what piece of advice would you give her?
Oh, where do I start?
No hard eights.
Yeah, I think it would be something along, well, you know what I would like to right now, I would like to say, you know, calm down, chill out a little bit, because she just went through a really difficult time. I think I would like to take her out for a beer and just like have a fun night again, because Dex has been very blue. And so we need to kind of get her happy again. Okay. So I think it would be that, and who knows where that night would go. A very fun night.
Okay, the next one comes from Hill Perios.
That's probably for me again. I've been thinking.
Who in the show is most like their character?
Oh my gosh. I think I'm probably Cole, you know. I think Cole I consider him to be like my younger brother. I feel like there was a lot of similarities here. He's growing up, Cole is growing up. So I would go with an Ansel Cole combination on that.
Well, I think you're wrong, because I am a box man.
A criminal.
I totally forgot about the box man. So many different careers. So I was, but yes, if we're just talking about the box man, Jake Johnson.
Okay. Other than that, Cobie, apart from that, I agree with you.
Yeah.
There's a whole meme that's going to come out of that answer.
Michael, you have anybody?
I'm a box man.
I'd say Adrian as Tukey.
Yeah.
Adrian makes you laugh on set with some of the driest humor, and it's just like, yeah, I'd say Adrian for sure. Adrian Martinez is Tukey for sure.
That makes sense.
Does Adrian have some cooking skills? Because I'm always loving what he's doing when he's cooking, but I don't know if he's actually doing anything that's edible.
I feel like he would be the kind of guy who cooks with like an apron and nothing underneath. And so I don't even want to think about it.
All right, next question. This one comes from @Gray McConnell.
Hi, my name is Becca, and my question is, if you could switch roles and play another character, who would you play and why?
If I could switch roles and play, wow. I don't think I would want. I don't want to switch. Yeah, I don't want to switch.
Okay, fair.
Rebecca.
I know mine. I would want to do Tontu. I would want to do Sulin for sure.
Yeah, she's great.
I'm very excited for another season to potentially go into that whole world and see her as this businesswoman, and also Tontu is just the coolest. So yeah, Sulin.
Jake, you got one?
I'm with Ealy. I don't think I would switch.
Okay. All right, we're getting creative with some of these handles. This next one is Dex C. Perios. Are there any guest stars you'd like to see in season 2? Any wish list people you'd like to see come on the show?
I mean, is Streep available? Do you think that she's got anything?
She does TV.
Well, come aboard.
Meryl Streep, that's a good one. Michael, do you have anybody in mind?
Guest star. Wow. Yeah, maybe like Benicio del Toro.
Cool.
Okay.
I also say I think we'll probably be accepting any guest star that does not have the coronavirus. We're very open to anybody who is COVID free.
You're about to get so many resumes coming in. My big chance.
Jake, do you have anybody in mind you'd like to see on the show?
I do. Daniel Day-Lewis.
Damn.
These are good.
I think we just found the mom and dad. I don't know.
I would like to see Daniel Day-Lewis co-star, not guest.
One-liner?
I want him and Leonardo DiCaprio to be an under 7. I want them just to walk in and go, can I get something to drink? And I go, the bar's closed. Anyway, what were you saying, Dex?
It writes itself.
Throw Jack Nicholson in there too. What the heck?
Okay. I like it. All right, this next one is from at Jake Cindy's.
Hi everyone, my name is Francesca. I'm from Argentina, so this might be my only chance to tell Jake Johnson what a huge fan I am. I really admire you and your work. So well, that being said, my question for all of you is, are there any behind the scenes funny moments that you can tell us about? I really love the show and I'm excited for season 2. Thank you.
You know, honestly, we have it's a really great group, and there's really a ton of laughs. Everybody got along with everybody. We had a great crew. You know, everybody kind of had their moments when they were cracking everybody up. So my memories of Stumptown season 1 were doing bits and laughing in between takes.
Is there anybody who breaks first, who always laughs first?
I mean, probably me, but you know, I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, we all kind of would break.
It was pretty even.
The comedy in our show is not so on the nose. It's sort of played out in awkward moments, so we try to milk it a lot.
Yeah.
So you can't break.
Okay. All right. All right. This next one is from at Maya Horii, Miyahorii. I think I'm saying that right. We touched on this a little bit, but will season 2 allow us to explore more of Dex's past with her family and relationship with her parents? So I guess we open that up a little bit more. We know Mom is coming, but is that going to open up a whole can of worms otherwise?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we're a show that also does flashbacks, but I think a big part of that story is to figure out how this character got to be the person that she is. And, you know, our parents are a big part of that. So the nature versus nurture of it all is something that we'll get into. Hopefully how she got her name, you know? And so that mother dynamic is something I know all the writers, the mother-daughter story is something all the writers are really anxious to get into.
Did we actually use her proper name in the first season?
Dexedrine?
Yeah.
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 I'm trying to remember.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a rich story there, and lots of again, I think that's really fun when you can go back and kind of see what makes a person tick, and to a certain extent, you know, the nature versus nurture aspect is kind of a underlying theme of this season, I would say, for all the characters.
Okay. Cobie, Jake, and Michael, do you like to know as much as possible about your characters and their stories, or do you like to kind of go script to script and just go with wherever direction they take you? Cobie, what do you prefer?
I like to know it all. Every little morsel.
Okay. Jake, how about you?
I like to know. You know, honestly, with season 1, and Dave Bernad was a big key on this for me, but I love being part of the discussion. I love having the writers come up and, you know, decide what they want to do, but I love being able to text ideas and get excited about something. And, you know, we would go up to Jason's office quite a bit and pitch things and discuss things. And this group was very open to that. If there was something that, you know, Cobie's a great number one. So if there was something I wasn't comfortable with, she and I would discuss, and then we'd all go up there and have a great talk. And what was different about this and other jobs is the changes actually came. And changes would be addressed so that everybody was comfortable. And if it wasn't right away, I knew we were all working together. So I like to hear so that I could also be involved, because I care about this character and I care about the show, and I'm, you know, trying to do something good with it.
Okay. Michael, did you have anything you wanted to add there?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think wanting to know everything as much as you can up front is always good. I mean, it prevents you from making the mistake of, you know, playing a certain scene a certain way, which isn't necessarily in conjunction with where your character is going later on in the season. So continuity is always good, and no actor likes to find out they have a kid in season 2.
All right.
In real life or in the scene?
Both. Jake.
Season 2 is not a bad time to find out you have a kid. You just got season 1, save some of that money, and figure out what to do. Nobody wants to find out they have a kid when they didn't get the job.
And nobody in this cast wants another kid.
No, that's right. Here.
Has anybody picked up any new hobbies during this pandemic, all this time we've been spending at home? Any new hobbies emerge? Anybody? Producers? Anybody?
Yeah, I've been building an office in my backyard that I'm learning about on YouTube. So I'm letting YouTube be like my teacher. So I'll like find videos and then I'll do the thing that it's teaching. And it is remarkable how much you can learn online if you watch these videos.
Okay. Anyone else? No? Okay. All right.
Somebody's got to offer something. Nobody wants to hear what I've learned. Go on.
What have you learned, Greg?
Make Bernad do it. I want to know what Bernad's been up to.
I've just been working hard. That's all. I have no hobbies.
All right.
I've taken on eating.
That's yeah.
I've been eating everything I want. It's been great.
I've been learning how to clean records.
All right, you guys, that's a wrap from San Diego Comic-Con at home. Thank you so much for being here. Stumptown Season 2 will be on ABC this fall, Wednesdays at 10 o'clock. Thanks, everybody, for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thanks, everybody.